Welcome to Digital Learning, an initiative of Directorate of Collegiate Education, Government of Karnataka. Professional Guides for Cultivating Humanity is a essay prescribed for third semester BCom General English affiliated to Bengaluru North University. In this session, we will deal with the two important concepts pertaining to this lesson. I am Randana NG, Assistant Professor of English, Government First Grade College, Bagepalli. Professional Guides to Cultivating Humanity by Hema Raghavan is an essay, or in fact it is a simple essay wherein she says we require 6 professional guides to cultivate humanity in our life, and the simplest solution that she comes up with it is, instead of going in search of these professional guides, we can find them within ourselves. The learning objectives of this session: the student can understand the meanings of the new and difficult words pertaining to this lesson. Each word is described along with the meaning, which will help the student to understand the text better. It will also help the student to improve communication. Through the course of the lesson, the student will understand the significance of communication, or how the human element in communication is very important. It will also help the student to understand how human contact or the human touch is very important in all communication that occurs. Various communication happens, but then any communication over the course of a machine will always lack human contact or touch. It will also help the student to project India, or our lives for that matter, in a glorious way. Why always be negative in our attitude? Let us try to project India in a better way. It will also help the student to develop a positive or a better view of life, and it will help the student to repair the fuse in communication. Yes, communication is there, but the spark seems to be not alive. So through the course of this session, he will learn how by repairing the fuse, communication can become better. At the end of the session, the students will be able to understand the meanings of the new and difficult words pertaining to this lesson. It will help the student how to repair the fuse in communication, which is also very important for the survival of humanity in general. By improving communication, our individual lives will become better, our interaction with community and society in general will become better, and society as a toto also will become much better. So we can look forward to how to become an optician to visualize the beauty of life. It will help us to learn to project India in a much better manner, and we'll also be able to adjust the focus in our lives. Recapitulation of the previous knowledge. Hema Raghavan, the author, recollects how she had received a thoughtful New Year email. It was in the form of an advertisement, and the advertisement started with the words urgently needed. The email continued, we need 6 professionals to make our world a beautiful place. And who are the professionals? An electrician to light up the relationships, an optician to change the outlook of life, an artist to draw a smile, a construction worker to reconstruct the society, a gardener to cultivate good thoughts and good acts, a maths teacher to cultivate humanity and also help us to count on each other. The ironical thing is that all these 6 professional elements are present within us, but we are not aware of our true potential. So the author implores us, she urges us, encourages us to find these 6 professionals amongst ourselves. Even Basavanna, for that matter, in his Vachana says, God is not to be found outside, God is present within us. When we have all these positive qualities, why go in search of remedies outside? Instead, we can look at these present elements and try to cultivate them further. We require the electric current of words, emotions, gestures and physical togetherness to connect people. The warmth of communicating with a person, and when you look into the eyes of the person, is never to be found through the modern technological communication. Francis Bacon's quote, a crowd is not a company, is appropriate here. Yes, you might be in the midst of many people, but still the feeling of loneliness will always be there. So you might be surrounded by many people, many people might be online who are connected to you over the internet, but still you are alone. If humanity has to survive, humans must learn to repair the fuse, which is vital for interpersonal communication. The entire world depends on communication. If communication is not happening, the world as we know will come to a stop. Yes, communication is happening. In fact, communication has become much better through the course of modern technology and all the modern gadgets. But the communication is becoming more and more interpersonal. The personal communication seems to have reduced to a greater extent, and only communication over the machines have increased. Now let us have a look at the glossary part. These are the difficult words pertaining to this lesson. First, let us understand the meanings for the better comprehension of the text. Bushel, it means a measure for liquids. When you have to measure any liquid, this is the unit there. Delude, to track or to fool or to convince ourselves, to fool ourselves. Inane, it means without any meaning. Facet, a particular aspect of something. Tangible, that can be touched and seen. Detain, stop something from leaving. Wrap, a time frame. Grotesque, stranger or ugly in a way not natural or unnatural. Attenuate, to make something weaker or eccentricity in someone's character or to enhance for that matter. Foible, a minor weakness or eccentricity in someone's character or a flaw for that matter. Atavism, it's a tendency to revert to something ancient. Scatological, it is humor obsessed with excretion. Incisive, sharp critic. Platitudes, statement that have been made very often. GC holders, this is a term used by the author in the course of the lesson. GC holders refers to green card holders. This particular concept is applicable to NRIs or non-resident Indians. Gerontion, it is a poem by T.S. Eliot which he quotes in one aspect. Among the 6 professionals required, Hema Raghavan has given the details or mentioned about an electrician or optician, an artist and construction worker, a gardener, a maths teacher. In this session, the first 2 professional guides, an electrician and an optician, are dealt in detail. First and foremost, an electrician. Why is an electrician required? An electrician is required because whenever there is some electrical fault or whenever connection is not there between 2 devices, we go in search of an electrician. Likewise, whenever there are no sparks, when there is no connection between 2 human beings, we can be an electrician ourselves. This loss of interpersonal relationship can be rectified by an electrician which is present within ourselves. Human contact has been replaced by the impersonal SMS, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, etc. But then we feel so lonely in spite of being connected with so many online. At any point, you might be logged in over the internet and you might be online on Facebook. 2000 friends of yours might be online, but if you really look at it that way, you are connected to those many people over technology. But in the present, the only thing or the only person that is giving you company is the laptop or the mobile through which you have logged in. We feel lonely in spite of being connected with so many people. Social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., it lacks true emotions and feelings which is present in the human interaction. So at this point, many people miss out or they have missed out on the human element. We need electrical current of words, feelings and proximity to connect people and generally survival of humanity. Humans are meant to communicate. Humans are meant to be with together. Why is it that we have made ourselves an island? Why is it that we have surrounded ourselves with these many machines? And why do we hesitate to talk to other human beings? Even animals for that matter, we see that animals tend to live together at least in pairs if not flock of animals. Then why is it that we human beings tend to ignore each other, but yet we try to communicate with someone else who is connected to us over a machine? The person next to us we tend to ignore, but we try to communicate with the person who is connected to us over the internet. I think God must be really laughing here, because when God created Homo sapiens, He gave us, in fact, we, the human beings, are supposed to be His favorite child. He gave us two important elements that differs us from the rest of the species. One is the aspect of thinking or reasoning, and the other being speech. Speech, the verbal power, the verbal voice, is what keeps us or makes us different. Through the course of this voice, to communicate better, hundreds and thousands of languages have been invented so that we can communicate better. In spite of the presence of so many languages, why is it that now we are dependent on machines to communicate? Somewhere the depth of languages is also due to this interpersonal communication. So we need electrical current of words, feelings and proximity to connect people and survival of humanity. Francis Bacon quotes, a crowd is not a company, and faces are not but a gallery of pictures and talk, but a tinkling cymbal where there is love. So, this is absolutely true. Facebook is one such device that has a gallery of faces that we look at without any feeling and often without recognition. The first and foremost casualty of communication technology is the loss of interpersonal rapport. The physical gestures and expressions that complement communication through words are absent, leading often either to inane exchange of words or getting one's signals crossed. We need the electrical current made of words, feelings, emotions, gestures and physical togetherness to flow, but not through an open circuit that illusorily connects hordes of people, but through a closed circuit that intimately connects people. So, for the survival of humanity, if humanity has to survive, we have to repair the fuse in our communication circuit for a free flow of the current and restore the vitality of interpersonal communication bonded on words, gestures, feelings and emotions. Next, the next important professional guide that we can opt to become is an optician. First, let us try to define who is an optician. An optician is a person who deals with all the products related to the eye. Eye refers to this one of the senses, and through the eye we see the vision or perspective. All of it is related to eye. We have to become an optician. And why is it? Cultural rigidities obstruct people. Yes, we all belong to one culture or the other, and somewhere we feel as we belong to one culture, somewhere only our culture is the best. But then we tend to ignore or we tend to neglect, we do not recognize that other cultures are also present. But then no culture can be present, or no culture can exist only on its own. Influences of other cultures are always there, but then some sort of rigidity seems to obstruct people from cross-cultural interaction. So, the need of the hour is to balance the inherited cultural legacy. Yes, our tradition is there. Whatever in a culture and tradition that we have inherited, of course, we have to continue it further. We have to take it towards the future generation. But also, we can also consider the positive elements in other cultures. Here, a very famous analogy by Ortega y Gasset's optical issue is used by the author. In this, according to this Ortega y Gasset's optical issue, there is a simple analogy of looking at the garden through the glass window pane. Imagine there is a glass window pane and there is a garden outside the window pane. Now the window is closed. You are looking out of the window pane. But if the window pane is dirty, you are unable to look out of the window towards the garden. So, your first concentration will be at the dirt that is present in the window pane, and it will require a lot of effort to look outside through at the garden there. But imagine if the window is clean, if it is completely clean and transparent, you are quickly able to look out of the window pane towards the garden, and over a period of time, as you are looking out of the window, you will forget that you are looking out of a window pane, and you will focus only on the garden. This aspect of looking out of the window calls for adjustments. It requires us to be an optician to adjust our focus. When we are looking out of the window, the focus is different. When we go to the second part of concentrating or focusing on the garden, our perspective has changed. We forget that the first window through which we are actually looking exists. We are only concentrating on the garden. So, this is the requirement of the hour. We have to take refuge from the past, or we should learn from the past. We have to learn to live with a clear vision. We have to learn to bring in balance in tradition and modernity, and culture must be viewed clearly. So when the newer influences makes inroads on that legacy, we cannot ignore the thrust, and we should develop global optics that will enable us to balance tradition with modernity. So by being an optician, we can change our outlook, our perspective for a better life. Why only confine ourselves to the only culture that we are familiar with? Why not take the positivity that is prevalent in other cultures? If we are able to open our mind for all the positivity that is present elsewhere, our mindset will change, our perspective will change, and we'll be able to look at life in a much better sense. Let us assess ourselves. What did we learn through the course of this session? A few multiple choice questions. The first question, the characteristic feature of the 20th century modern age is follow the past, make everything new, live life to its fullest, or follow traditions. And the answer is option B, make everything new. Yes, the characteristic of 20th century modern age is seems to be make everything new. But by making everything new, are we losing touch with humanity? Yes, because whatever previously existed in the form of tradition and culture, yes, we have it. But then somehow by trying to make everything new, we seem to be losing the human touch. Who has described the optical issue as looking through the glass of the window pane? Or whose analogy has the author used? T.S. Eliot, Shakespeare, Ortega y Gasset, or Mulkraj Anand? And the answer is option C, Ortega y Gasset. She is the one who has described optical issue as looking through the glass of the window pane. A dash is needed to view clearly. Cobbler, magician, optician, or a teacher. Who is needed to view clearly? Remember, view, vision, perspective, outlook, sight. All these words are related to the eyes. So eyes are one of those prominent senses through which we see, analyze, through which we are able to understand life. So a optician is needed to view clearly. The answer is option C, optician. We need to be dash to change our outlook on life. If you have understood both the concepts of how we have to be an electrician and an optician, you will understand, you will also know the answer to this question. We need to be dash to change our outlook on life. Electrician, laborers, opticians, or jokers. The answer is opticians, because if we are an optician, we are able to open our eyes, clear our mindset, focus, and change our perspective, which will also in turn help us to change our outlook on life. We need an artistic eye to see dash and to draw a dash, and the options provided are colors and smile, black and white, far and near, stars and moon. And the obvious answer is we need an artistic eye to see colors and to draw a smile. Yes, color or life is present everywhere. We just require a open mind and the eyes to see it. Why do we always see miserable? Why do we always see the negative aspect everywhere? Why can't we look at the positivity that is prevalent everywhere? So we need an artistic eye to see colors and to draw a smile. The references used for this session: